Okay, we are starting our first podcast, and the question is, what are the questions we never stop asking after 20 plus years of marriage?
And?
Yeah, because it's related to the Analogue Men and Quantum Women topic. I think the biggest question that I think we have through our marriage, but also I think it's the biggest question for everybody, is how do we understand each other? Many times I feel I cannot understand you, and it's getting better with time, but it takes special effort to understand. And every time I have to stop and try and understand things, not the way I understand them, but the way that come from you. Because I'm trying to look for a rational way of understanding things and solving problems, but my impression is that if I ask you what you think about something, the answer is you don't know. But if I tell you what I think about something, you already immediately have an answer of why what I'm saying is incorrect or incorrect, I guess, or not including all options, maybe is a better way to put it. And what is the question that you're asking after 20 years?
My question I ask after 20 plus years of marriage is why, even when I try to explain, and it makes perfect sense in my head, the explanation, and it feels like very logical explanation that has nothing to do with emotions, still there is no understanding coming from you.
And what is your observation or conclusion? Why is this the case?
I guess it's connected to exactly what you said, because what is it? Usually the explanations comes after when I say that I don't know. So it probably the explanation, they just feel like pointing out, different opinions, pointing out things that maybe are not exactly the way you see them. So yeah, the explanation actually doesn't explain anything, it just makes more confusion.
So what you're telling me, when an explanation comes, like you can say from your side, is actually creating more confusion.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, I think, I thought many times about this, why it is like this, because it's not just with you. My parents had the same issue, they could never agree, and it's very easy for women to conclude that men are stupid, and men conclude that women are witches. They don't make any sense, So for my parents, they were always fighting because it was very difficult to come to a conclusion, who is right. In my mom's eyes, my father was always not right, and in my father's eyes, she never made sense. So when I try to understand this, because I try to incorporate the idea of us being designed by God, and God wants to see us as a image. He created us in His image and likeness, but we can only be God's image and likeness when we grow together and become accepting of each other, understanding of each other, not understanding in the sense to understand logically, but understand that there is difference between us, and the only way I can kind of understand this difference functionally is that women are quantum, like the way that women compute information is like quantum, and the way that men compute information is analog. So it sounds like a simple explanation, but to me, what makes sense is the actual fact of data management. Because for men, like, we like to manage data linear, like we like to have logical connections, logical conclusions. But with women, it's more quantum. So it's like the universe responds through women's intuition. So when a woman kind of receives a ping, which is like an information request, or like information is sent with certain like question or request, the women's nature is connected to like the network of the universe, and the response comes not just from one person, like the woman itself, but from the universe. And the universe includes everybody who lived before us, all the knowledge accumulated, all the universal knowledge, and all this together makes some sense for this particular situation, which is expressed in a way that a woman can understand and relate to it. Yeah, and in the case of men, the way I see it is more men understands things more functionally, like how do they work, like within like the constraints of life itself, like the way. So whatever we experience as men, we learn and we try to understand how things work. That's why we are so interested in how things work and want to fix things. Because it's more functional. But with women, it's more why is it happening? More like connection and reason related. Like, why is something happening? Men is thinking, how is it working? And how do we fix it? And women think, how is it? Where does it originate? Like, there are millions of relationships that create a situation. So, yeah, and when something is expressed, I feel like when you say it, it feels like an accusation against me, against my opinion, that my opinion is false, and it has to be defended. And then it makes you feel like, I don't understand what you're saying. But in my understanding, because this is a functional solution, this is how things work, and, this is the solution. Like, when you come and say, no, this is not the solution, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. But if I spend time to research the opinion, not that mine is wrong, but there are other factors that can be considered. So, well, depends how deep you want to know a situation, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what is it? For me, it's also very interesting because every time when answer comes, it comes without any explanation. So exactly as you said, that it's coming from some kind of deeper understanding of things, but it never comes as a complete answer. It's just, let's say, if there is, let's say, I don't know what, apple is sour, so it just comes as the apple is sour. It doesn't come as an explanation, how did it happen that it's sour, because maybe it's not ripe enough, or maybe this is just the type of an apple, that it's this way, So it's, for me, it's kind of confusing that I do have the answer, but I need you to explain it. How does it work that this is the answer? And it's kind of sad that, not sad, but it's am still looking for a way to say these things like this, that you will actually complete it, you know, that you will not take it as an accusation, but you will take it as a things that needs to be completed, you know, that it needs explanation.
Yeah, the way it sounds to me is, and why I take it as a challenge and kind of an attempt to disregard my opinion as false, is because it's not given respectfully, like with consideration that, you know, this opinion is a valid opinion. It's given like as a challenge to the opinion, you know, which requests like a combative response. Yeah, but this is interesting that the answer that you received doesn't come with the manual, because I think for men, like, we don't have an answer unless we have a manual. Like, we have to have a manual to give an answer. Like, we have to say, oh, this is because of this, and you do this and this and this and this and this, and then this, and that's why it's like this. So because of it, like when the answer is challenged, it's like an attempt to throw the manual away is made. It's like the manual means nothing. You know, all this research means nothing. And like the only way I find that it makes sense is if I'm immature and you're immature and we are growing towards maturity, which includes understanding each other. But the purpose of all this growth is to become an image and likeness of God. So, like, God is this quantum and analog being, which somehow, I mean, now from the current level of understanding, it's difficult to understand how can the analog and the quantum find peace of mind in God. Like, from our perspective, this is impossible to understand. But I think that if this way is walked, like the way of maturity, maturing, seeking this higher wisdom, aiming for, I guess, perfection. I don't think perfection exists, like in a static state, but I think perfection in the sense complementing each other perfectly, the way this works in God. Then it will make sense, because whatever we don't understand, if we could understand, we will know why we're saying or why things are happening the way they're happening. Because nothing else makes sense. Like, there is no, like, if I observe people around, you can say, like, marriage is a failure because we can't, you know, find what exactly we're supposed to do. Everyone's struggling. Some are doing a bit better than others, but you can say marriage is a failure. But if you say marriage is actually our journey to becoming an image of God, then the measurements are different. It means I don't have to be perfect. I can only understand half of the universe as a man, and you can only understand half of the universe as a woman. But together, we can we can start to become the people that can understand the whole universe, the way that God understands it, or the way that God created it. And this makes completely different sense. Like, the perfection is actually only through the family, only through experiencing being a parent, because if you don't experience being a parent, you cannot understand how God is a parent to humanity and what kind of feelings and thoughts go through God's mind on the female side and on the male side, because they're different. And yeah, if these are the measurements of success, becoming one with each other and becoming an image of God, then marriage is actually quite an interesting and fascinating thing that creates the potential to achieve this. And all the things that happen in marriage, all the different levels of love that we experience in the marriage, like from being very immature to being, like completely dedicated to each other, and then understanding what it's like to live for a child, then what it's like to live for more than one child, and how we transform our characters through doing this and becoming the person that, it's quite interesting. Like you become a parent and you don't know how it works. You just become a parent. Like you don't have an explanation. There is no manual. You just become a parent. A mother becomes a mother and becomes like all these aspects of her character just appear, manifest themselves. Father also, like I feel on my side, I feel like I don't have to be forced to feel I want to take responsibility and provide for this family. Like this feeling comes naturally. And as a young person, teenager, if someone asked me, would you be doing this one day? Are you going to be willing to do this one day? I would say no. Like, this is stupid. This is crazy, Why would someone, kind of sacrifice themselves and their comfort and joy, to take care of another person and, some children, And many people think like this. But I think if you ease into life and say, okay, this is what life is, and accept your role in life and not fight against it, things kind of find their own. It's like water moving through a valley. It's like we start at the high point, and as we move down, we experience different things in life. But there is only one way. Like if you're born, you're gonna die, and there is a journey in between. So what are you gonna do through the journey? Yeah.
Yeah, this is very interesting, because every time when you start to talk about God, about how you see the universe works, how family is kind of the school of love and all these things, it's not that I have nothing to say. It feels so good that I don't want to say anything. I don't want to interrupt it or to put anything on top of it, because it's just so nice, and so it feels very good. If you would, like when you said that women, not all, but yeah, mostly women work on a quantum, so when you put some information into it, then when you put information into the quantum, the way how I experience it is, it kind of goes somewhere very deep, kind of searching for something, and then some answer or some information comes back. But in this time, when talking about God and things related to God's love and family, then all the information that goes into the quantum, it just feels nice. There is no specific information or specific answer coming back. Just very nice, warm feeling, like, yes, this is really nice.
Okay, we can finish on a nice note then with our first episode. And if you want to read more or find out more, buy the book Analogue Men Quantum Women on Amazon.